Hello and welcome to EWTN Vatican. My name is Andreas Tonhauser and I'm the Vatican Bureau Chief here in Rome. We want to present to you the latest news and the stories behind the scenes of the Holy See here in this eternal city, and you can follow all of those stories on our YouTube channel and the other social media channels. Please make sure to subscribe. Also subscribe to our email and you will receive a weekly update on everything that is going on here in Rome.
This week on Vaticano, Pope Francis stands up for defending elderly and terminally ill persons, stating that palliative care should not be confused with euthanasia. The personal secretary of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI shares the Pope Emeritus's efforts in combating pedophilia in the Church. Did you know that there's a feast day of the Chair of St. Peter? Learn with us the significance of this feast. And travel to the Italian city of Terni, the hometown of St. Valentine. For this and more, Vaticano starts now.
Queridos hermanos, ustedes reunidos.
Pope Francis marked the 30th anniversary of the World Day of the Sick with a message appealing to doctors to always treat patients with dignity. This day of remembrance traditionally takes place on February the 11th, the feast of Our Lady of Lourdes. Pope St. John Paul II initiated this day of remembrance in 1992, and Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI continued the tradition. In 2008, he explained why the day coincides with the commemoration of the apparitions of Our Lady at Lourdes. In his message, he said that Mary suffers with those who are in affliction. With them she hopes, and she is their comfort, supporting them with her maternal help. Fittingly, a 3-day symposium on palliative care of the Pontifical Academy for Life was held in Rome from February the 9th to the 11th. Representatives of palliative medicine from Africa, Europe, and the United States updated each other on the current state of palliative care and what tools are available to provide an alternative to euthanasia. Ahead of the symposium, the Holy Father stood up for defending the elderly and terminally ill persons and said that we must not confuse palliative care with an unacceptable slide toward euthanasia.
We must accompany people into death, but not bring about death or assist in suicide.
Qualsiasi forma di suicidio.
The pandemic has highlighted the importance of palliative care and given a level of urgency to maintaining a Catholic ethic within the medical profession, as the interlocking web of relationships between doctor, patient, and nurse must always be sustained by love and care for the individual that is made in the image of God. The advance of euthanasia, assisted suicide, and abortion in our modern society shows that the fight for the sanctity of life is not over. Did you know that February the 22nd is the feast day of the Chair of St. Peter? The feast dates back to the 3rd century and originated around the Cathedra of Peter, the place where the Bishop of Rome resided and governed. The cathedra was a fixed seat of the bishop, placed in the mother church of the diocese, hence the word cathedral, which was the symbol of the bishop's authority, who, as a successor of the apostles, is called to protect the flock and transmit the teaching of the gospel to the Christian community.
questo lo fa lo Spirito Santo.
This wooden throne in St. Peter's Basilica, encased in bronze by Gian Lorenzo Bernini, was given to Pope John VIII by the Holy Roman Emperor Charles the Bald in 875. The feast commemorates Christ's choosing of Peter to sit in this place as the head of the universal church. This pastoral responsibility Jesus gave to the Prince of the Apostles by saying, "You are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church." Later, Peter arrived in Rome, where his life ended in martyrdom. Precisely for this glorious death, it was decided to consider Rome as the official location of the Cathedra of St. Peter, with a celebration fixed on the 18th of January.
Welcome to the Vaticano updates with the most important news from the Holy See. Pope Francis has called Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI a role model. At the general audience on February 9th, Pope Francis spoke about St. Joseph as the patron of a happy death, mentioning his predecessor in office as a positive example of preparation for his passing. The pontiff said Pope Benedict himself recently said that he is at the dark door of death. We must be grateful to the Pope Emeritus for still having the spirit to say that at 95. Pope Francis also encouraged all Catholics to face the reality of death. Faith in the resurrection, he said, is the true light that illuminates the mystery of death. Pope Francis last week wrote a letter to the President of the Pontifical Council for Promoting the New Evangelization, Archbishop Rino Fisichella, for the occasion of the Holy Year. The Holy Year will be in 2025, and in the Pope's letter to Fisichella, he writes, "The forthcoming Jubilee can contribute greatly to restoring a climate of hope and trust as a prelude to the renewal and rebirth that we so urgently desire." For this reason, the Pope said he chose the motto, Pilgrims of Hope. On the occasion of the 30th anniversary of the election of His Holiness Bartholomew I, Ecumenical Patriarch of Constantinople, Pope Francis sent a video message. The Pope thanked the Patriarch for his fight for Christian unity. Pope Francis is going to Florence on February 27th. The Holy Father will meet migrants and refugee families, among others, and celebrate Holy Mass in the Basilica of Santa Croce. Last Thursday, the Vatican also officially confirmed that Pope Francis will visit Malta from April 2nd to April 3rd of this year, having already been postponed for almost 2 years due to the pandemic. The motto of the Pope's trip refers to the famous shipwreck of the Apostle St. Paul in Malta, and therefore chooses the quote from the Acts of the Apostles, "They showed us unusual kindness." Thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of Vaticano. I'm Rachel Lanz for EWTN News in Rome.
Thanks for watching. Stick around for more on Vaticano.
Excellency, you're the private secretary of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. How's he doing? How did he receive the abuse report, and what does he think of the media storm accompanying it?
This morning we celebrated Mass together like every day. Then we prayed Lauds and had breakfast. And then he went about his business, and I'm here now. He is doing well. The pressure was lifted, thank God, after his letter had been published, together with the fact-check.
In seinem jüngsten Brief bat Benedikt XVI. Die Opfer sexuellen Missbrauchs Vergebung.
In his most recent letter, Benedict XVI apologized to the victims of sexual abuse, but also rejected all allegations. How does this go together?
You know the story. A mistake was made after the publication of the Munich report. But it was not a mistake on Pope Benedict's part, as he himself indicated in his letter. The fact-check explains how it happened. It was an oversight that unfortunately happened. It shouldn't have happened, but it did happen. I can still remember when we reviewed the statement he sent to the law firm. During the last question and answer session, he said, "That meeting, the famous one, on January the 15th, 1980, I don't remember. But if it says that I was absent, then this absence is proven, or was proven back then, because of a document of the meeting. And that's where the mistake happened. So if it says I was absent, I accept it. I don't remember." I said, "Holy Father, it's in the digital files we just checked, so we can assume that it is true." It was not checked again, not at all, until the end. It only came up again when the report was presented and one of the experts said, "We have the proof here. Benedict was present and not absent." I was shocked, and the others were shocked too. And then we checked again, and indeed there had been a mix-up. I told Pope Benedict, and he said, "We have to say immediately that it was a mistake on our part. It was not intentional, so it was not a lie. Lies happen on purpose. It was a mistake. We have to say this as soon as possible," he insisted.
Für diesen Fehler, vielleicht wenn ich hier nur einhaken darf, muss das auch ein wenig in...
About this mistake, if you allow me to put it into context, the abuse report had more than 1,000 pages. Pope Benedict received a catalogue of questions before this report was published, including thousands of pages of documents. They had to be reviewed, and then, based on this work, he wrote an 82-page response. In this document, there was an error on whether Benedict participated in a meeting or not. However, the abuse cases were not even discussed in this meeting, and this is also documented. But that is not something you have heard in the media so far, right?
Aber das ist etwas, was man nicht unbedingt jetzt in den Medien, in allen Medien vernommen hat.
Vielleicht darf ich dazu ein bisschen ausholen.
Allow me to give you some background. Pope Benedict was asked whether he would be willing to participate in this report. He said, "I have nothing to hide. I'll gladly do it." He then received about 20 pages of questions and was informed that he would of course have the possibility to consult the documentation on the basis of which the questions had been compiled. Pope Benedict answered that because of his age, he would not be able to travel to Munich, being thus not in a position to go to the Archbishop's ordinariate in order to consult the archive files. It was then suggested that this could also be done digitally. But since Pope Benedict is not familiar with the new computer world, the digital world, I suggested he commission a professor, Professor Muckel from Rome, as has now been made known, whom I know very well and appreciate. He is a lawyer and a canonist and a very good theologian. He also had to sign a declaration of confidentiality for the diocese and the law firm, stating that he will accept the task and, of course, remain silent. That's what he did, and then he was presented with 8,000 pages of digital records. He couldn't copy and paste, so he had to do what he did when he was a student. He had to take notes. And that's an incredible mass of information. The information about the digital format was not given right from the start, but only upon request. And he worked his way through it, and then, of course, everything was put in a logical sequence with regard to the questions. Then the consultants or the staff drew up a first draft, and Benedict had a look at it. And in this first draft, the confusion, the mistake, was already there. No one noted the mistake, none of the 4 collaborators, nor me, nor Pope Benedict. It was, as I said before, when he asked me, "Is it true that I was not present?" Yes, that's what it says. That's what the files say. And that was the mistake. Well, then things went ahead. The statement was mailed, the 82 pages written by the consultants, which Benedict regularly proofread, making also some changes and improving things. And in the end it was 82 pages. And then there was criticism. It's too juridical, not Benedict's voice at all, they said. And to legal questions, which are often quite complicated and written in a somewhat wavy language, if I may put it like that, one can only answer using the same language.
Formuliert, kann man nur in der gleichen Sprache antworten.
Natürlich, es werden ja in diesem Gutachten knapp 500 Fälle.
Almost 500 cases were documented in this report. Pope Benedict has been faulted for mishandling 4 cases. Regarding one of these cases, there was a meeting taking place more than 40 years ago in the Archdiocese. And that's what all this fallout ultimately has been about. Now, the Pope's letter that recently was published, it was a very personal one, and it contained also a more legal response. There was proof that all allegations are wrong. But the letter is emotional in tone, and in there, Pope Emeritus apologizes to all victims on behalf of the Church. Now, many media representatives interpreted it as if he was especially apologizing for concrete cases. But that's not correct, right?
Dem ist es aber nicht so.
Ich antworte gerne darauf, aber möchte zuerst einmal auf diese Sitzung.
Before I answer your question, I would like to come back to the infamous meeting. The protocol of the meeting reads, present Archbishop Cardinal Ratzinger. The then Vicar General was not present, he was absent. The personnel responsible had received a request from a diocese in Germany asking whether a priest coming to Munich for a certain period of time for treatment would be allowed to stay in a rectory in Munich. That was the subject of the meeting. The request made by the diocese was accepted. We will name a priest or a parish priest in whose rectory he can stay, it was said. It was not about content at all. That is, it was only about whether this request should be accepted or not. And Cardinal Ratzinger, who was present, naturally agreed. Of course, if we can help, we will help. What later happened, a cooperation here, a cooperation there, was beyond his knowledge. At the time, that was not discussed at all. Also, the reason for the therapy, that it was possibly a paedophile priest, was never mentioned. There's no mention of that in the protocol. The claim that he knew about it, that he protected him and covered it up, is simply a lie. And I must say, quite frankly, that is an insinuation. It is simply not true. You have to know the facts as they are, and also accept the facts as they are. And then I can interpret them. But I can't put the cart before the horse. I simply can't. That is an insinuation. And that ultimately takes away the moral credibility of Pope Benedict, and then he can no longer defend himself.
Excellency, thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Pope Francis declared Saint Irenaeus the 37th Doctor of the Church with the unique title of Doctor of Unity. Saint Irenaeus of Lyon is a great example of unity between Eastern and Western Christians. He was brought up in the Greek tradition in Asia Minor by the disciples of Saint John the Apostle, but became a bishop in the West in present-day Lyon, France. The official at the Pontifical Council for the Promotion of Christian Unity, Father Hyacinth d'Estavel, explains what the title Doctor of Unity means.
Theological work of Saint Irenaeus of Lyon is inspired by the question of unity. Why? Because he had to face the Gnostics, and these Gnostics were opposing always different realities. They opposed the God of the Old Testament to the God of the New Testament. They opposed the body to the spirit. They opposed faith to knowledge.
Saint Irenaeus used the argument of unity to defend the Christian understanding of the triune God against the Gnostics' theory.
Unity is not uniformity, especially when he was considering the mystery of God. He was always considering the different persons in the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. He is the first who used the image of the two hands of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit to show that there was this diversity, but in the unity of God, of one God.
Saint Irenaeus also put an end to the dispute between Eastern and Western Christians regarding the date of the celebration of Easter. He upheld the principle that a diversity of tradition didn't endanger the faith, which of itself demanded unity.
He was concerned, of course, by the question of the unity of Christians, because there were many divisions because of Arianism, of Gnosticism. His perspective was always the unity in Christ of the whole world, of the whole cosmos.
Saint Irenaeus was a strong voice in support of the four Gospels and for the principle of the primacy of Rome by virtue of its preeminent authority based on the apostolic succession of bishops and priests. The newly declared Doctor of Unity is also the patron saint of a joint Orthodox and Catholic group of theologians that are working on resolving current problems in dialogue between the two churches.
This group agreed recently on an important document on the relation between primacy and synodality. This document was presented to Pope Francis last October, and it was during this audience that Pope Francis announced that Saint Irenaeus will be proclaimed Doctor of the Church with this title of Doctor of Unity.
The Church only gives the title of Doctor of the Church to saints whose doctrinal writings are considered to be both true and timeless, as the writings and works of Saint Irenaeus demonstrate. In a few moments, we'll be back with more on Vaticano. For over 1,700 years, February the 14th has been dedicated to celebrating lovers and is associated with the life of the 3rd century martyr, Saint Valentine. EWTN's correspondent Colin Flynn takes us to Terni, Italy, to explore the city's Valentine's Day festivities.
Pope Francis wrote in Lemors Laetitiae about Valentine's Day and St. Valentine, urging couples not to focus on the commercial aspect of the holiday, like the cards and the gifts, but to instead discover what the true meaning of romantic love really is, and also learn about the life and legacy of St. Valentine. As a priest and eventually Bishop of Terni, Valentine was known to have worked tirelessly evangelizing pagan cities and promoting Christian values. Tradition holds that after Emperor Claudius II outlawed marriages, Valentine continued performing the sacrament in secret, which led to his imprisonment and martyrdom.
He offered his life to bear witness to the gospel, and in this life, he manifested what the gospel is, that is, pure love.
It is believed that he was martyred in Rome on February the 14th, and soon after his death, devotion to this defender of love spread, changing a pagan holiday into the celebration of Christian love. Stemming from his passion for safeguarding Christian love, Valentine became known as the patron saint of lovers. In Terni, couples from all over Italy and Europe come to receive a special blessing and make a promise to God and Saint Valentine, professing their commitment to love.
This comes from a story that he assisted in the matrimony of a Christian converted lady with a pagan soldier. So important was his blessing, and he was helping this couple to get married. From that tradition comes this custom of Festa delle Promesse, we say in Italian, feast of promise, we can say. Before they get married, they come from the altar of St. Valentine and they promise to St. Valentine, promise to God that they will get married. They will get married and they will live faithfully to the marriage commitment.
And what do you want to get from the blessing? What would you like it to do for you and for your marriage?
Yeah. And for me it is very important because it's I think that's serenity, and it makes confidence in our intentions and reinforces our wishes, because what is the power of man compared to the power of the Almighty?
And why did you come for the blessing? Why is it important to get the blessing?
Well, because we decided to become a real family, to start to be a family and live together for the rest of the life.
What is your dream, your hope for the future?
Il nostro sogno qual è?
Pace e serenità.
Peace and love.
I just one is just to to be loved by you for the last day of my life and to keep you happy.
No, I think you don't have to wish for that. It's granted already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The legend of Saint Valentine is a strong reminder that Valentine's Day is more than just cards and presents, but a day centered on true love. It's hard to believe that over 1700 years later, the people here in Terni and all over the world continue to celebrate Saint Valentine. And for the couples who receive their blessings this weekend, the soon-to-be married couples, they will now go forward in life, holding in their hearts a deeper understanding of the true meaning of love, as demonstrated by the life of Valentinus, Saint Valentine.